All right, I pushed record. We're live. One and all, welcome all to the DukNilla cast, NFL style. I am your host, Vanilla James, with my co-host, Olduk. Today we are talking NFL Free Agency Defense Edition, a continuation from our last cast. I totally didn't ask you if you already had up the website.
I got it.
All right.
Let me get a cough drop so we're not hacking lungs here the whole time. Right? Jeez, what a week.
I know. Between myself and you, we've been, we wanted to get this episode out last week, but sickness.
It's been rough.
We've been getting down with the sickness.
Ugh.
Yeah, we are talking NFL Free Agents Defense Edition, and we will be using Spot Rack as our website of choice here. And let's kind of jump right into it. We're going to be going through a little more informal than the last episode. I'm kind of just going to go through a bunch of names here. I'm going to start at cornerback. And let's jump right into it. I'm not going to play my little cheeky game of, keep trade, whatever. At least not on defense, because defense seems a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But cornerback, we have some very interesting corners that are up in free agency. The biggest one for me is Stefan Gilmore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's getting up there in the age for corners. He seems to be on around the average age of free agent corners.
Yeah, 31 and a half. So
yeah, still a lot of football left to play. I think he's a great addition wherever he goes. Leaving,
he only played 8 games last year though.
Mm-hmm.
Must be have some injury.
Yeah. He'll definitely be a highly touted free agent. Someone's gonna really want him.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting to see though if he goes for money or goes for a ring, right? Another ring,
Right.
So that's going to be interesting. There's a couple teams I think that would love to see him. I think the Rams star-studded squad would love him. Get someone else, behind Ramsey there. They are not afraid to go out and get those big names, take the hits, mortgage the future. Mind you, the Rams don't have like the first 3 rounds of the draft. They don't have picks. So they don't have to sign $8 million first round pick. That's non-existent for them. So salary cap to me is much easier for the Rams, especially when you don't have those first 3 first round picks. You're really taking your value picks in later rounds. I could get down with it.
Yeah, I don't know where you would go. He's in Carolina, right? Is that where he's at?
Yeah,
right
that's
now?
where he was at.
He played at Patriots before that. He's unrestricted, so yeah, he can pretty much go anywhere he wants. I think he'll do a 1-year deal or so. And
I think the name I want to bring up to you, and I want your feedback on. He's not really that good anymore, but Joe Hayden, drafted by the Browns.
Yep.
Free agent. 32, almost 33.
Yeah, I don't know what he will do.
Once a bright star, once an amazing corner, and kind of really fell off the cliff here.
He had 12 games last year.
What was his stats even?
Let's see. Back out here. 8 games played, 305 snaps. He had 16 tackles and 200. Oh no, wrong guy. He had 612 games played, 630 snaps, 37 tackles, and a fumble, forced fumble. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
No interceptions all year. So
I want to ask him about because he's not in my. I'm gonna bundle up a group of players here. Kyle Fuller, he's probably the youngest one in this group of people. Patrick Peterson, Chris Harris, Jason Verrett, Xavier Woods. I think that's all on my. Yeah, that's it for me. Those players right there I'm just scrolling, making sure I didn't leave anybody out. Nobody wants to be left out. Yeah, Jason McCourty too. Jason McCourty's on that list. And there's a lot of free agent corners.
There's a ton.
But
There's
those
a ton.
guys,
There's a lot of older ones and a lot of younger ones too on here.
Mm-hmm. Those guys that I just named are the wise veterans. I'm gonna put Trey Flowers on that list as well. Those are Trey Flowers is the much younger one here, but those guys to me are the wily veterans that are probably past their prime. Maybe not Trey Flowers, but the rest of them probably well past their prime, but are still going to contribute and make plays on a team. I would love to have my team on my team for the right price. I think they're great locker room guys for the most part. The majority of them. I'll put Josh Norman in that category as well. 34 years old, coming out of San Fran. Josh Norman might be done, but those are your wily veteran kind of guys that they're going to get a team. Other guys that we can look at, Charvarius Ward coming out of KC, J.C. Jackson coming out of New England. These are younger guys. It's be very interested to see where they go. Levi Wallace showed up a little bit in the playoffs there, but not very big. Charlton Davis out of Tampa. He kind of had some talk, in the offseason there. Or during the playoffs, excuse me. One of the names I really want to mention, though, is out of Green Bay. Or I think it's King.
Kevin King, yep.
Kevin King. Here.
He had a pretty decent year.
Yeah, as a Lions fan, I know my Green Bay corners. They terrorize us, okay? Kevin King's a good corner. I believe he was injured a decent amount last year, if I'm not mistaken.
And only played 10 games, so almost over half the season. 30 tackles. He had an interception. 21 of those tackles were solo, and 9 were assisted.
Mm-hmm. I think he's a good, talented player that I would love to see on my team as well. I'm interested to see where he goes if he stays home. Green Bay, though, in future episodes, we're going to be talking about individual teams and their salary cap. Mm-hmm. We talked about them on our salary cap episode. They got some issues, and if they want to bring back Rodgers, they got to make even more moves to bring him back. Now, they've been showing that they want to do that with some of these, some more bringing in, QB coaches out of retirement, bringing in other people. So it seems like they want to have a good faith on their end, but that bridge might be burned, Mm-hmm. The boat's gone. Another guy I'm interested, Vernon Hargraves. For Cincy, only 26 years old, turning 27. I was actually surprised when I saw that. The penalty man himself, running onto the field, getting his team a penalty. Didn't even play in the game. Talk about costing your team when you're not even playing.
Right.
That's gotta be, that's gotta be a mature, eye-opening experience for him, right? You have to learn from that. Like,
you got Eli. Did you mention Eli Apple?
No, I haven't got to Eli yet.
List, yeah. Yep.
Eli Apple, he's one that I really want to talk about more in depth as well.
Okay.
Cincy, if you look, we just talked about 2 corners coming out of Cincy, but Cincy has the money, baby. They got the money to go get some people and make a deep run for like 2 more years, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
You could upgrade Eli Apple. I don't think Eli Apple's that great of a corner, but I also am a firm believer that I don't think Jalen Ramsey's that great of a corner. I compare Jalen Ramsey to Richard Sherman, which I got tons of shit when I talked about Richard Sherman all the time. And where's he been? I was proven right.
Out of his prime now.
I said it when Richard Sherman was in the league. He will shut down one side of the field, and he's great at it. And I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's a Hall of Fame player. He's not a man-to-man. There's no Revis Island, That's it. I think a guy like Stefan Gilmore's a better corner. And he's proven it by being in the league this long. That's how I feel about him now. About Ramsey, I just feel like you saw that we all saw that Super Bowl. Chase burned him a couple times. And I'm telling you right now, if Cincinnati had a better offensive line, they would have won that game. That game was there was no way they would have just trounced the Rams.
Just even two better players on that offensive line would have won that game.
If you give the young talented Burrow 2 more seconds. Unbelievable. That's why I say that the Bengals, you got a lot going for you this year. Go get some of these big offensive linemen that are going to be up for free agency. Hell, you could upgrade an Eli Apple, and we could go get a big name corner. We could get one of these other guys. We could bring 2 of these other veterans in. And I think Cincy is going to be a destination for a lot of play. I think Cincy is kind of like when KC made that second run at the Super Bowl, how they started getting some other players, bigger names, kind of wanting to play there. I think that this is Cincy this year. I think when free agency hits, we're going to see some players not necessarily take pay cuts, but they're going to choose the Bengals over other teams. It's going to be between Cincy and another, and they're going Cincy. You see anybody else on this corner list you want to talk about?
Just Eli Apple.
Eli?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Eli. I like him as a player.
Right, yeah. I mean, I only bring him up because I watched him in college. He's Ohio State, and so I get to watch him a lot during that time. He was pretty good then. And I wasn't 100% sold on him then either.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize he was on this many teams.
Oh, he was been around.
Drafted by New York. He signed a contract then. He was suspended for a game, and then he was traded to New Orleans. Then New Orleans declined his $13 million option for 2020. Then he signed a 1-year deal for $3 million with Carolina. Then he was released by Carolina. Later that same year from May, he signed in May, released in October. Then he signed a 1-year deal with Cincinnati on March 23rd, 2021. Then January 28th, he had a fine for taunting.
Yep.
But, and so there's potential for him. I don't know statistical-wise if he's just not been that good. But his last, besides Carolina, he was only there for 2 games. 18, 19, and 21, he played 15 games. So he was consistent. He was on the field. He was injured to start his career when that's the Giants, so I think that's why he didn't stay at the Giants. I don't know, you'd have to see some of his other stats, of how he's doing one-on-one. Is he how good of a cover cornerback is he? I've seen him break down a few times in some games that I've watched him do, or watch him play. But I don't know. I think he'd be a good pickup somewhere. I wouldn't mind seeing the Browns pick him up potentially on a small contract. You could probably get him for under 1.2 mil for a year. He's already signed a contract for that. He did make the Super Bowl, so it might be a little bit more, depending on that year. He played 89% of the snaps. 49 tackles, 38 was solo. He had 2 interceptions, so he had a pretty good year. So it would be a good pickup for somebody that needs a little bit more backup. I would assume he probably would start on a lot of teams right now, but he's still young. Just 26, almost 27. So,
yeah, for the record, I want to say, if I talk about a player and I say, he's not for me or not, I don't think he's that good. He probably is good. It's just I'm not in love with him.
Right.
He's probably like Eli Apple's a great talented player. He deserves to find a home, and he's gonna make plays out there. He's just, to me, not my guy I want. With that said, if the Lions took him, I'm happy as hell because I would love to see anyone with talent on the Lions. I'm gonna jump around here a little bit just because I want to stay in the backfield here. We're going to move on to safeties. And I'm kind of looking up a trade right now. I want to look up what was this trade.
Was there a trade right now?
No. Talk about safeties. I'm gonna jump right into a guy that is on the free agent, or who's going to be a unrestricted free agent, 26 years old, Jabril Peppers, out of Michigan, former Browns. And this is the trade I wanted to look up because I really wanted to see what happened. The Browns acquired Odell Beckham and Oliver Vernon in exchange for a right guard, Kevin Zeitler, and safety, Jabril Peppers. Cleveland gave up a first-round pick and a third. Do you think Cleveland won this trade?
Yeah, because Kevin Zeitler is a really good guard, or a good offensive lineman. I think he's still on the team, to be honest. I'm pretty sure, right?
So that would mean the Giants gave it, right?
Yeah.
I think the Giants won this trade for sure, right? Because OBJ no longer on the team, and
it says Jabril Peppers was traded to New York from Cleveland with Kevin Zeitler was traded. So, and then a 2019 first round pick, Dexter Lawrence, and 2019 third round pick for Odell Beckham and Olivia. Yeah, it was a bad trade on
Giants. The Giants got to steal for that.
Out on that.
Now, with that said, Jabril Peppers is a free agent. Do we think he's still how talented of a safety is he? We're talking 26 or 27. This is young. Very young for a safety. And to hit the market?
On Cleveland, signed there. He, that's fine. Defensive receiver.
And could this be a product of
option on him?
He went to the Giants. Giants were terrible.
Right.
The Giants have bad coaching. They have a lot of stuff. Could it just be that? Could he go to another team and just go, play lights out?
What are his stats? He only played 6 games last year. He had 1 sack, 29 tackles in those 6 games.
Jeez, woo! Good stats, right?
That's not bad for 6 games.
For 6 games. That's what I'm saying.
But I don't understand. I know when he was drafted 2017, he had 13 games, 2018, 16, 2019, 11 with the Giants. 2020, he played 15, and then 6. So he must have had some kind of injuries. I know he was suspended a couple games. Or not suspended. He was fined, but not suspended. So I don't know. I don't know. He wasn't bad there. I don't know. This was during, it's kind of hard to remember coaching staffs and all the crap that Cleveland's had. They've gone through them like butter. It's been transitions would be so much. So it might have been just through a phase of, coaching staff and just that wasn't a play style of a player that they're looking for. I think he'd be a good pickup for any team. Because when he played in college, I thought he was a linebacker. And then he transitioned to safety. But I could be wrong on that. I thought he was a linebacker when he played there, but so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, I think he'd be a good pickup for any team that's looking for a safety in the back.
Going into some other safeties, Xavier Woods signed a 1-year deal with Minnesota, 26 years old. I think he's gonna. There's a couple players here that signed 1-year deals. Malik Hooker, former first-round pick, signed a 1-year deal with Dallas after being drafted by the Colts. Xavier Woods, drafted by Dallas, signed a 1-year deal with Minnesota. I think that had a lot to do with the cap was down last year during free agency, and there was a lot of players having to take prove-it deals last year, and especially in the safety market. That seems to be a trend for this COVID thing, and even the year prior. Now, I think that trend ends this year with the salary cap increasing quite a bit, and it projected to go up quite substantially more in the next couple of years. So, I mean, those are two guys that I would be excited. Malik Hooker, not rated that high, but I really like him. I really do like him a lot. Other guys on this list that really stand out to me, of course, I have to mention Miles Kilbru. Gets buried behind depth chart, but this guy just goes out and hits. When he played for Detroit, he was just a hitting machine. Just puts his body out there, delivers hits. I don't think he's, probably that great of a safety, but he goes out there and, puts him up. I think one that's very notable, Jordan Whitehead out of Tampa. Pull up him real quick. Tampa, this is now post Brady. Unless Brady comes back, unless they trade his rights away, which we have heard rumors. But Jordan Whitehead, drafted in the 4th round, signed a 4-year deal in 2018. Contract's up. He's an unrestricted free agent. I'm really interested to see where he goes. I'm interested to see what Tampa does because money, baby. He's going to get... This is one of those guys that when you win the Super Bowl, you got to start paying people because they want their bag. Right. And this is one of those guys. Played very well. Very young player. He's going to want to get his money. Rightfully so. I do not think he is a Buccaneer next year. I think the Bucs have to move on. When it comes to players like that, sometimes you have to, make other decisions. And, safety is one of those things where you could get a guy like Whitehead was drafted in the 4th round. He's, you could find value there. So I think, I'm excited to see where he goes because it's not going to be Tampa. Lions, please. Answer my call.
It'll be a big money sign though.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of. How many times have we seen players, Duck? How many times have we seen players get signed somewhere, make a big bag of money, and then they don't play right?
They lay an egg.
A Kenny Galladay coming out of Detroit.
Yeah, we see it too often.
I almost cried when Galladay left Detroit. That kid, I loved watching that kid. That kid was amazing. Not really any other notable safeties unless you see any you want to talk about.
Did you mention Tyrann Mathieu?
Is he strong safety or just safety?
Free safety.
No, I haven't got the free safeties yet.
I just have safeties pulled up. I don't have.
No, I'm gonna move in the strong safeties right now. And then I'll move to free.
I don't know how to. Okay, you do that. And that's fine.
Okay. Strong safeties we have. Quandary Digs. This is another guy, former. Come on, open up. Oh no, it's not going to want to work for me.
I had a good
former
year.
Detroit Lion. He was drafted in the 6th round. A 6th round guy. And he plays very well.
He had a real good year too, even though it was in Seattle.
He was one of those guys that when he left, I knew it was gonna, I'm like, man, we let a good one go. And especially Seattle taking him. Seattle loves their guys. They love that Legion of Boom-esque. I lost my spot because I pushed the wrong button, so I gotta scroll back up.
Yeah, with 17 games played, he played all year. He played over 1,200 snaps, 94 tackles. He had 5 interceptions. This is a guy worth signing and going for. I think he's got a couple more good years in him.
29 years old. That's it. Strong safety. That's a guy I want. Akeem Jackson, 33, almost 34. I think that's one of those veteran guys. If he doesn't retire, he's going to get a team. Those are really the only notable
Well, you got Dallas,
strong safeties I saw.
Keanu Neal,
Mm-hmm.
26. He played 14 games this last year at 508 snaps, 72 tackles, a sack, 2 QB hits, and he was a $4 million contract last year. So that might be another standout just because of age-wise. Injury might be an issue with him if he's only played 14 games, but still 14 games is quite a bit. It seems like.
Yeah,
I don't know what the threshold is for for players of what coaches and teams are looking for them to play. Granted they probably want them to play every game, but there's probably a game or two maybe that they're going to be missing. That would be I think your threshold's what 14, 15 games probably for a year. So
absolutely.
Andrew Sendejo, huh? I think he's retiring.
I agree. Free safeties. Moving on. You mentioned Tyron, excuse me. Definitely an all-star player. Great story of recovering from mental illness and getting his life back on track. He's gonna go find KC. Do we think he goes back to KC? Unrestricted free agent.
Man, I don't know.
We talked about some teams wanting to go younger.
Yeah. I mean, how many years has he been at KC? Was he drafted by KC?
No, he was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald helped him. I'm actually questioning that now if he was drafted by Arizona.
It was Arizona, and then he 2018 went to Houston for a year. And then after that he went to KC the last 3 years, so I think it'd be good for KC to sign him. I think he's still
signed
a good
3-year deal,
valuable part. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this would be
he's a rock.
Season.
He is a rock on your defense. Like when he was hurt and they were missing him, you could tell.
Oh yeah.
They played differently. And I mean, if you're KC, you want to get a guy like that. But this is something I've talked how many times about. When you win a Super Bowl, everyone gets paid. Mahomes is getting paid. This fairy tale is slowly ending. And Tyron's a guy you pay, baby. You pay nice money to get that team going. And he's a guy I would love to see in Cincy. We're going to talk about Cincy a lot because they got the money. They got the resume. You went to the Super Bowl. They're the team to me that's most like. I don't think the Rams are the team that I think's going back to Super Bowl. I think it's Cincy. That's who I'm going to be high on. I mean, who did I? You know what, Doc? Who did I say was the Browns' biggest worry at the beginning of the year?
I think you bring this up every episode.
I think I do. Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Cincinnati Bengals for sure.
Cincinnati Bengals. Absolutely. I said that. I don't care if on week 8 I took it back. I don't care. I said it.
Well, we smoked them.
I don't care if I took it back.
And then played like crap the rest of the year. Yeah.
Other notable names: Anthony Harris, Marcus May, Marcus Williams. That's really the notable. I mean, I guess there's Terrence Brooks.
We got 2 from Philly with Rodney McLeod and Anthony Harris, like you said. They're gonna, they got 2 of them that they're losing potentially.
We talk about that. Sometimes you got to move on. And safeties, we see a lot of safeties go late round, and it seems like we get a lot of them. So sometimes you got to look at: do we just pay a guy a big amount of money, and we have that rock piece, or do we just take a shot on some guys? And they work out. It happens more often than not when it comes to the safety position. All right, next up, defensive ends. This is where I think the big time is right here, right? The D ends, the big boys, I guess these are the people movers. These are the QB sackers. All right, these are the people that give QBs nightmares. Lots of names on this list: Dante Fowler, Probably pass. I don't want to say pass the prime. I'm actually excited about this guy. Excuse me, Dante Fowler Jr. 27 and a half, coming out of Atlanta at the moment, unrestricted free agent. Calais Campbell coming out of Baltimore. Now he might retire. Getting up there in age, might make one last run. He's the kind of guy, like, this is the kind of wily veteran I could see going in Cincy, making a nice run. JPP for Tampa. This guy, he ain't going back to Tampa, right?
He's been through a lot, hadn't he?
Yep, losing some fingers on the 4th of July, still plays, baby. He's gonna find, still missing fingers and could still do it. The guy I'm probably most excited about is Akeem Hicks. Also plays on the interior from time to time. Played for Chicago. A real big rock for the Chicago Bears defense. I would be shocked if Chicago let him leave. Unless they feel he is past his prime, I would be shocked if they let him leave. This is also the kind of guy, I think, if you take him and you put him in a team where he's not asked to carry the load, this is the kind of guy that, at 32, almost 33, this is the kind of guy that you could see going to, like, the Rams, right? Where he's not asked to do everything. Let Aaron Donald move the line, and once he moves it, go get in there. Von Miller, we'll talk about him shortly. He, plans on going back. I think Akeem Hicks, someone who could go in there, fill that spot. I also think he would be great for a team like Cincy. I had another team in mind. I think he'd be great in Cleveland, too.
Who's that?
Akeem Hicks.
Yeah, there's a few guys that I would like to see back. I'd like to see Jadeveon Clowney go back to Cleveland.
I was going to say, Jadeveon Clowney is also a free agent. He's a big name out there. Yep, I think Cleveland needs, hear me out, I think Cleveland needs to move on from him, right? He's got a bit of an injury history. He was more drafted out of college. He was drafted as a speedster, right? Number 1 overall. Drafted as a speedster. When you get to that age.
Out of this unrestricted free agent stats list, he's got the most sacks. He's got the most sacks, 9, right? Tied with Emmanuel Ogba, that used to play in Cleveland as well. He played 14 games out of the 17.
That's actually good. That's great.
His injury background, yes, that's fantastic, right? 677 snaps, 38 tackles for loss, 9 sacks, 19 QB hits, and 2 forced fumbles.
I would be interested to see what's his career missed games, though. But how many seasons has he missed?
I don't think he's missed it like a full season. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Even if you have to add those games together, how many seasons has he missed?
Well, the first 2014, he only played 4 games in his first season. 2015, he played 13. 16, he played 14. 17, he played 16. 18, he played 15. 13 in 2019. He had 8 in 2020 with Tennessee, and then 14 with Cleveland.
So, that seems average, though.
Season and a half. Yeah, that's about what we're seeing for a lot of teams.
You have Myles Garrett that's over there.
Well, yeah.
You have some other great players on defense over there. How many first-round picks do you have on defense?
We got a few.
I think Clowney is a good player.
Another guy for Cleveland. Tack McKinley is another guy that we had that's on an unrestricted free agent as well. I think he'd be a good pickup from any team. I don't know if he'll go back to Cleveland.
I'm just saying, I think this is the kind of guy I think Cleveland moves on from. I think Clowney's the kind of guy you move on from.
And if you move on from him, you got to go better than that. So where do you go on this list that's better?
Well, here's the thing. And here's why I say you move on from him is either A, you sign him, right? Because you know what you're getting. You know who he is. And maybe that's where the team wants to be. But I would much rather have like Akeem Hicks, right? I'd much rather have that guy.
He played half a season.
And here's the thing, Clowney. What is Clowney's run defense stats? I don't believe they're good. I might be wrong, but I don't think they're good. I would much rather have a Akeem Hicks. I mean,
Yeah,
we
I don't
have
know what we have for that. I know it's not the best, but most edges run defense aren't going to be the best. That's interior is we're going to get most of that.
mhm.
Oh, you're shutting down the edges is what you're doing with that. You're making them run to the front, or to the middle. So
I guess
I don't
another
know.
thing is that I mean, if I get Clowney at a good price, right? I'll take him.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take him all day. I know what I got.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
take him. But it's kind of my Odell talk when I talked about Odell for Cleveland. How much is he worth, right? Does he fit my scheme? Does he do well? I lean towards, I think Clowney's too much money for what he's going to be for Cleveland. I think he gets paid more like a number one guy, and he is the number two. Let's not cut that short. Garrett is the number one. And do you really keep that kind of guy around?
Well, I mean,
I mean,
seem
you
to work
got the
well
money,
together
right? I
while
believe
they're there.
Baker's on his fifth year option, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So this is it's now or never. I mean, maybe you sign him to a 1 year deal while you got that money. I mean, I know Cleveland doesn't have the most money right now.
No, but they've been spending it more in free agent this last couple years than they ever
Here's a
have.
guy. What about help me pronounce his name. Afidi? Indigo for Cleveland? Abendigo? I know I've heard his name plenty.
Where is he? Is he on this list?
Yes.
Oh, there.
What about him?
Oh, right.
I mean, I think maybe this is the kind of guy I'd probably be more interested in signing. Seventh round pick, by the way.
Mm-hmm. He played 9 games last year with us. He was drafted by Arizona, and then went to Minnesota and started there quite a bit.
I'm
Played
looking at
9
stats.
games.
I think I'll take Clowney.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he didn't play much, so it's hard to give him
I think
the
he's
benefit of the
when we
doubt.
look at a guy like that, that's one of those depth chart guys, right?
Right. Yeah,
That's the
we're
kind of
looking
guy
second
who's getting a
string right
home.
now. Right. I think one of the biggest guys on here is going to be, Emmanuel Ogba. He's going to be a big sign somewhere. He's
Mhm.
going to be a good pickup. He's played well over the last few. He played all 17 games this year too. I mean, a lot of these guys played all 17 games, which is I think is huge. If you're able to stay on the field and stay healthy and still give some production.
Sports medicine has gone a long way these days.
Yeah, I even looked down to boy from Detroit, Charles Harris. He had a good year too. Played 17 games, had 8 sacks, 16 QB hits, 2 forced fumbles. So he's gonna be a good pickup if he does not go.
It's sad to say is I think he's moving. Detroit's got this problem, right? As we've talked about Detroit plenty on past episodes, but Detroit, it's going to be something we talk about for the whole, including next year, is cap space. You're paying a QB that we don't think is the guy, $50 million, like a buttload of money. Our cap space is garbage. And we want to talk about signing a guy like Chris Harris, who could be a great talent.
Right.
An amazing talent, but he's buried in Detroit. And Detroit's got to rebuild this image, rebuild this picture. I trust the coaching staff to get us there. I hope I could trust the coaching staff for once. In ownership at GM.
What do you mean by he's buried in Detroit? I guess I'm not understanding that.
Buried, I mean, like, look how many players have gone to Detroit. I mean, Stafford is a great, I've looked at Stafford as an amazing talent for so long. And people, Stafford, he's not that good. He's not that good. Goes to the Rams, wins the Super Bowl his first year. He's been doing those. People give Mahomes so much credit for these sidearm throws, these no looks. Stafford's been doing it the entire time.
Right.
Buried. Nobody knows. In Detroit, buried. Nobody knows.
Other quarterbacks did this before they were playing football. So this is nothing new.
But when you're in Detroit, you're buried. Like, you have to be on Calvin Johnson levels to get recognized. Cliff Averill. Quandary Diggs going to Seattle. Like, Lions
I think
players
that's
get
an
buried.
organization issue.
It is. That's
they're not
what I'm
keeping
saying.
the talent they have. It's like they're a farm. It's like this is what the Browns used to be. We used to be a farm team for the NFL. Okay?
That's great example. That's what I'm feeling.
And that's kind of what Detroit's doing right now. That's what we were in this rut. The farm team, we're making players. Oh, they're doing good, and then we ship them off. Look how many Browns players that have gone to different teams throughout the years that have been really good. There's been quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to start naming everybody because I don't remember all that stuff. But there have been. I mean, not all-star talents. Not Tom Brady's and top quarterbacks and stuff of the world, because quarterback we had an issue. But every other position, we've had good players, and I think that's what Detroit is in right now. And if they lose Charles Harris, that's another step in the wrong direction. These are the kind of guys they need to be using in
I think
signing.
There's other players within Detroit that I would like to see, but again, I'm not the GM for and for all these teams. I'm not the GM. I don't know everybody, but Charles Harris is not one of those guys that I've seen from week out and week in where I've been rooting, seeing the things that he's doing. So I have to trust my GM on that.
He played 17 games. He had 8 sacks. I mean, who else on your team is doing that?
Point. Right? Your point taken. But to me, somebody's getting sacks. Somebody has to do it. I don't know. I don't know. I would love to have talented players on my team. Yes. But right now, I also know my team can't mortgage their future anymore. So, right now, here's the thing. It's a Harris, right?
Just like the Pistons are right now.
Here's what it is. All right. Pull up Chris Harris. What round was he drafted?
Charles Harris.
Do that while I go on my rant, and give it to me as soon as you got it.
All right. Okay.
All right. The Lions have to this next year and the year after. So if we sign this guy, he's
drafted first round overall, number 22 overall, first round.
22 overall in the first round in 2017 by the Lions?
By Miami.
So we're his second team.
No, third team.
Third team.
Atlanta. He was in Atlanta last year.
So looking at how contracts compound, they build, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to pay this guy a lot of money. But if you're all right, so I'm looking at his contract right now, 1.7, right? 1.7. Right. I'll be happy to pay him that and bring him back in all day. But if I have to pay him $6-7 million, and then the next year is 10, no way. My team needs to be set up in 3 years. Yeah. My team needs in 3 years to have plethora of cap space. We draft a young QB. We have money galore. That's what I want. I don't want to be strapped for cash while we have a jank. Like, all of a sudden, we don't have a QB and we only have $30 million. I'm the Browns at this point. No offense.
Yeah, none taken.
Like, that's where I don't want to be. I don't want to be in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other teams that we could point out that are like that. I don't want to be that.
Right.
I want to have, I think the Giants with Daniel Jones are getting to that point. I don't want to be that team. I want to be a team that has money to make moves and a young QB that's getting paid a little amount of money. That way we can make that big push. And then when he starts playing, we give him the money and we start making bigger pushes. I don't want to sit there and have a young QB paying him little money and still have no money. And this guy's probably leaving the next year. I don't want that. Now, if I could get him for the right price and our compounding payments aren't that high, I'm glad to have him. But he's not the kind. There's other players we'll get to from Detroit that are leaving that I'd much rather have. Speaking of that, let's get into I'm almost at Detroit Lions again. The defensive tackles. There's not many names here that fly off the board, right? Like, if we were just doing a draft of who's up here, there's not many guys you're like, I want that guy. And then Dominic Sue, I'm sorry. I think he great player. I want him on my team, but no. I want him cheap. I'm not paying $9 million.
No, I don't
He
want him on my
plays
team.
every play. And then there's the character issues. He has a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So is he worth it?
Character
Here's the thing. Ndamukong Suh is worth it to a team that can afford to pay it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about a couple of Cincinnati. He's worth it. He's worth it.
I think Cincinnati's going to bring Larry Ogunjobi back, even though his injury. So hopefully,
and he was a great player, by the way.
Oh, he had a great year.
Only 28 years old as well.
Yeah, he was another Cleveland farm guy. You know what I mean? That was another guy that came from Cleveland that should have stayed there.
Oh, like Malik Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably leaving as well. Sheldon Richardson, coming out of Minnesota, unrestricted free agent. There's guys here, but
Sheldon
these guys don't feel.
Well.
Yeah, these guys don't feel like overwhelming. Like when we talk about Suh's 35 years old. Now, Suh to me is a beast where he takes care of his body. He's an athletic machine. That's why he didn't miss any game. He missed? He might have missed some time in a playoff game, I believe. But I believe he played all 17 games.
Yeah, he played all 17.
And he never comes off the field. At 34 or 35 years old, that's ridiculous. When you don't come off the field, that's crazy. I love his talent. But, his talent, character doesn't always overweigh talent. We talk about this with receivers, the big divas. Doesn't always work. That's why he's playing on like his 5th or 8th team. And he's going to be playing for another new team this year. Tampa's not bringing him back. If Tampa loses Brady, they're in rebuild mode. There is no expensive veterans. Suh's not a guy they want around. It's a culture rebuild. So, he's going to find a new team. And he's not going to go to some team he doesn't think he can't win with. Other names on this list? What do you got for me?
I think we hit the main ones. Quentin Jefferson's on here for Las Vegas.
Gerald McCoy. Corey Peters. These are old veterans. These are guys that can fit holes or plug some holes, but kind of old.
Steve McClendon from Tampa Bay, 36. He ain't going back, right? He might be retiring. Danny Shelton was on the Browns at one point too.
Yep.
He's only 28. That could be a decent pickup for somebody. Cheap. Wasn't one of the best players, but I don't see anybody else for that. What else we got?
We got inside. We'll move on to the next up. We'll move towards linebackers. Start with the inside.
All right.
Dante Hightower of New England. And I never know how Dante Hightower is one of these guys. I never know how I want to feel about him. Because some days I'm like, this guy is good. Like, man, this guy's good. And then other days I'm like, I don't want this guy on my team. I don't want to touch this guy with a 10-foot pole.
I think one of the other big names on this too is Christian Kirksey. I like him. He played for Cleveland, was in Houston last year. Had a pretty good year. Didn't play. He played 13 games out of 17, so it wasn't too bad. But he could be a good pickup for somebody. We got Anthony Walker Jr. from Cleveland. I'm not 100% sold on him either, so I don't know. He played only 13 games out of 17.
Yeah, there's not much fat in this free agency for inside. I mean, John Bostic has been making his way around. I think he's a depth guy, especially at this point in his career. Gerard Davis, former Lion. Did I say Gerard Davis? Former Lion, high potential. But again, I think he's just a depth guy at this point in his career. I mean, he's still young, 27. But I just don't, watching him play, he was never that kind of guy. Alec Ogletree, I think at 30 years old, probably another depth guy.
Yeah, and then you got Anthony Hitchens on KC. And that's another big name on KC that's having, unrestricted free agent of signing. So It's another big contract. What are they going to do with that? Are they just going to go younger through the draft, or what are they going to do? You know?
Yeah. Next up, just go straight to just linebacker. Down here,
Outside.
this is the name I'm most excited about right here. Leighton Van Der Esh. This guy was lights out for Dallas for a while. And then Dallas drafted that I can't remember guy for linebacking, and he got buried in the depth chart. I think this guy has a lot of football left to play, and I want him on my team badly.
I didn't see much of him, so I don't really know.
No, I watched plenty of games with him, and I am, woo, give me him.
What do you think Von Miller's going to do?
Who?
Von Miller.
I don't think I got down there yet. Is he on the outside linebackers? Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're looking at then.
Jumping.
What
I'm
are
just
you
looking at regular linebacker here, baby, on the list.
There's no regular. It's outside or inside.
No, well, that's what the list says. Okay, if you sit here and filter by position, it goes inside linebacker. It's right after kicker.
No, the kicker. There's a special teams area. What are you filtering at?
I am
filtering. You should be filtering on the far right side, top, up, right above update.
That's not where we did that. I did it on the bottom where it says players 749 position. I filtered by that. I push position.
You're messed
That's
up.
What it says. It says linebacker. I should have told you. Said I agree. But we're past that point. We are on linebacker. That's what the list says.
There's no linebacker position. It's either inside.
I agree. Or outside. I agree. I 100% agree. But these are just generic guys. I have to go off what I have. Okay? And you know what? Luckily for me, not much on this list. So let's move on to the outside linebacker position. Okay? I understand. You want to talk about Vonnie Miller. He's going back to the Rams.
That's what he's going to do. Do you think he's going to go back to the Rams?
100%. Or he retired. He's going to the Rams.
$15 million contract?
He's going to the Rams. He's already said it. Aaron Donald, they're bringing the band back together. It's 100% happening. Unless some catastrophe where they all start fighting, it's not happening. He's going back there. Chandler Jones, I'm more interested where he goes.
Oh, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
I think Arizona front office is falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
I think this front office everything's falling apart. The reports coming out about Kyler Murray, they want to move on. They don't want to pay him.
Yeah.
They want to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And you just brought in a bunch of guys.
Oh, I know.
Locker room guys to try to fill. This team's done. I think Chandler Jones goes on somewhere else. If he's smart, he'll see how this is all going down. He's like, I got to get out of here.
I'd take that boy in a heartbeat. He was beastly this last year.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he can be. I mean, he played almost all the games, 32, but still.
Hassan Reddick came out of. He was former Arizona Cardinal, free agent this year. Last year played for Carolina. Interesting to see where he goes. Anthony Barr is another interesting name out of Minnesota. He's just a guy on Sunday, if you watch Minnesota games, you just heard his name. There wasn't a time you didn't hear his name. He might just be a depth guy at this point in his career, but he's still.
Is he the one that had a lot of mental health issues?
Not sure.
I don't know if that was him or not. There was times where I don't think it was him. It might have been someone else. Police were called on him. He was just doing some weird stuff.
Oh man, I don't know.
The team a little bit. I don't think this was him, but yeah. Anyway.
Another guy, Melvin Ingram on a KC. We talked about KC having to re-sign a lot of guys here.
Oh, there's another one.
Big name guys. KJ right out of Vegas. Jalen Reeves Maben out of Detroit. A guy they liked for a long time. I think he's gone. Detroit needs to move on. Now, here's the guy I really want to talk about. Actually, well, I'll come back to my Detroit guy. Jamie Collins out of New England will be a free agent. Jamie Collins is a great example. Went to Detroit for a minute. He is one of those guys that
he went everywhere for a minute.
Yeah, but New England has this great thing of go play somewhere else. Go. You'll come back. And they do. They go play somewhere else, another place. Like, you know what? You're not fitting where we want you. You're not doing what, And New England just uses their players to their. I think they take them, and they put their players where they best need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those guys, And I just think that works for him. And I think he's a Patriot for life. He may be a free agent here, but he's going to walk right back to New England with his, all right, I'm back. A very interesting name on this list is Randy Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of Dallas, 29 years old. Ooh, this guy can still play at times.
Mm-hmm.
He looks sometimes he plays, I'm like, that's elite. That's elite talent right there. And then other times I'm like, what happened? I look at him kind of how I look at Clowney. I don't know what I'm getting on a Sunday to Sunday.
No.
That's how I look at those two. I don't know what I'm getting.
This guy had a lot of issues. I mean, he didn't play in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Because of his suspension.
But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm getting from him from Sunday to Sunday.
I mean, this guy's been suspended, 3 out of the 3 years. 2016, 4
Mhm.
games for substance abuse. 20 and then 10 games. So it must have been, I don't know if it was 4 or 10 or 14 games on 2016. And then the next year he got suspended for the whole year. Then he had issues with roughing the passer, and then he had substance abuse again. So this guy's been through a lot with that kind of stuff. So
He's going to a team he's going to get like dirt money because he's got too many issues. But he's a very talented player.
Super talented. Yeah.
That's the problem, and we hope he gets his life together, but super talented. But, you're missing games. From a talent standpoint, I look at him like Clowney, where I don't know what I'm getting on a Sunday to Sunday basis. Sometimes I think Clowney's still got it. But to me, Clowney's that speed guy that, if you run right at him, congratulations, you got 4 yards.
Yeah.
Now, the player I want to talk about the most,
I wouldn't say is the close at all in comparison.
Well, that's what we got the show for, baby. You get to disagree.
Well, then I'm disagreeing because it's not even close to the same. Maybe they got
disagree, baby.
Dreadlocks. That's the only difference. The only look that they have. There's no difference. I mean, the play style. We can't really tell what kind of play style we get out of Gregory, right? We haven't seen him enough. He's not consistent enough to be on the field.
From the Dallas games I've watched, to me it feels very similar.
His style's the same. Yeah, he's lanky. He's long. They're fast. Off the edge. I get that. But I out of those two, I'd take Clowney.
No, I would take Clowney every day. But actually, no. Depending on the price point. If I got Randy Gregory for pennies, and I wasn't worried about here's the other thing. If I felt my locker room culture was good, right? We've seen this with Tyrann Mathieu, right? I felt my locker room culture was good. I'd bring in Gregory over Clowney all day. Especially if I got it for pennies. Absolutely.
But it's not just about locker room.
And here's the other thing. Well, here's the thing. If my locker room culture wasn't there or I was worried about it, he ain't on my team. I don't care what price I get him for. He ain't touching my team.
But it's not just that. It's outside influences.
Oh, I agree. But if I feel confident that I have like veteran players that can reel him in, I would absolutely bring him in. If I felt I had people who could reel him in, keep him on track. Oh, and I'm getting them for pennies? For peanuts? Hell yeah, he's on my team over a guy like Clowney who I don't got to babysit, but I got to pay him more money. No, but here's the thing, my locker room culture is kind of like down, or I don't feel that I have those guys that can reel him in, and he ain't touching my team. I'd take a guy like Clowney over that any day.
It's too many question marks. I don't know if I would take him. I don't.
Now, I want to get to my guy. This is my guy, by the way. This is our last guy we'll be talking about.
What's your guy?
This is my guy.
Okay.
Alex Anzalone out of Detroit. This guy, to me, is a core. If they don't re-sign him, I am going to be furious.
Is it because of the locks?
His locks are freaking amazing. I love this guy. I want him back. He played amazing. He was drafted by New Orleans in the 3rd round. Signed a 4-year deal.
Yeah.
Signed a 1-year deal with Detroit. I want him. I want this guy back. He was amazing for Detroit. And you know what?
He's played his best year with Detroit out of all 5 years.
And to me, he was that guy. Like, he's the kind of guy I want on my team. He's one of those. He's not necessarily like a lock and load pillar, like the best guy. You know, like this is a piece. We don't have to worry about upgrading it for 4 years. But he's a guy that's like, all right, we got a piece here. He's good. We could fill around him. He's going to do his position well. If we find an upgrade, we can upgrade there. And you're not paying him. You're not paying him a lot of money. I would be happy to give this man $4 million a year. I would be happy with that.
Harris.
Charles, this is the GM, so I don't know. I don't know Charles Harris that way. When I would watch Lions game Sunday to Sunday, Charles Harris, Anzalone was everywhere, all over the field.
No, he played 17 games. You watched all games, didn't you?
Every one of them in complete disappointment. I cried.
Did you not see Charles Harris play at all?
Charles Harris may be good, but Charles Harris has been on team after team after team. I don't necessarily want DNs are different. DNs, I want my DNs to be studs. Absolutely, one good year is one good year. Same with Anzalone for the record. He had one good year, but I want Anzalone versus a DN. Okay,
Anzalone had 2 good years, but you know,
I would much rather. And here's the thing: it depends on what I'm paying Charles Harris. If Harris is getting paid, mid-tier status, and we got to keep, I would love it. But Anzalone, I'm paying probably peanuts, baby. If I'm paying Harris if I'm paying Harris $4 million a year, hell yeah, for a DN, hell yeah, brother. But no, he ain't gonna get $4 million. That man's asking probably like $8. And I don't know if I'm willing to pay that. Especially when I know my team's probably they're not gonna be here. Anzalone, he is a plug and play kind of guy that I get for peanuts. I can pay him $2 million probably next year. And guess what? He's not gonna hurt my salary cap. When Goff's cap's off, it's gonna be great. That's why I want him. He's a guy. He's a great player. He's gonna be able to. You don't got to worry about drafts in that position, and he's not taking cap space. He's that kind of guy. And I love watching those locks on Sundays, okay? It has a lot to do with the locks. I'm not going to lie.
Like watching that,
if he shaves his head, he's out. He's off the team. We're cutting him immediately. It's in the contract. Anzalone, if you cut your hair, you're cut.
It's the Samson, right? Cut your hair.
Like Troy Polamalu. If you ever cut that hair, you're cut immediately. With that said, do we have any more players we want to talk about? Do we want to get into kickers? I don't think I care about kickers, right?
I mean, I do, because we're a kicker carousel on the Browns.
Here's what I'll say about kickers. I'm gonna put them all into one category. Doesn't matter where they go.
Yeah, there's not very many on this list. The most notable is Nick Folk. He's 37. Has one of the higher kicking percentages, but he's in New England, so I'm assuming they'll sign him unless they find a younger guy. But we saw what's his name? Even Chase Mclaughlin from Cleveland is on there too. He did not do very good. He was 71% in field goals, so he can go for somewhere else. What's the rookie kicker for Bengals? I mean, the dude sat out in the halftime show of the Super Bowl and watched the show instead of was with the team.
Instead of sitting out.
Come on now. So and that was a rookie kicker. He had a good year. So, yeah, I think you're gonna start seeing kickers creep up in the first, I'm not saying first round or second or third. You see him in the third.
I was going to say, I thought we saw, when did Tampa draft? Was it the second?
Yeah.
Tampa drafted that one guy who's on our list right here. I believe it's Gonzalez. I don't know.
Yeah, was his name Gonzalez?
I believe it was. Let's look.
Young Ho Ko is in here. Cool. But
No, Doug Alves was
no, he was
drafted in the
drafted-
7th round by Cleveland.
yeah.
Hey, he
I
made
was
the
like,
free
he
agent
kind of
list.
sounds familiar. It kind of sounds familiar. No, I mean, you're going to see him creeping up. I wouldn't be surprised you start seeing him 2nd round pick on some teams.
No way.
Watch.
No
At
way,
least-
Jose.
It might not be this year because
I
we don't.
said that Tampa took that one guy 2nd or 3rd round, and that was shocking. And I think that's how'd it work out?
That doesn't matter for him.
Doesn't matter for
wasn't
him,
good.
but it was, guess what? It was a stupid decision. And I don't think teams want to be known for that stupid, especially GMs. You want to keep your job. You ain't if you want to keep your job, you ain't drafted a kicker in the 3rd round. There's way better players to draft in the 3rd round than a kicker.
How many busts have we had in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round?
Okay, I'd rather have a bust. I'd rather have a bust out of safety position than a bust at kicker that I could have drafted in the 6th round or signed a guy for pennies anyway. I could have brought 2 of these veterans in for $1 million for both of them. I do not care about the
Digging on the kickers.
When it comes to drafting a kicker, absolutely. I don't even draft a kicker in fantasy football, and you expect me to draft a kicker here? Hell no.
Punters.
All right, with that said, with the shenanigans said, we're done.
Hey, hold on. We got to talk about long snappers.
No,
Don't be just long snappers.
We are done. That's offense. We are done. That's not defense. We're done. It's over.
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
I let you get kickers in there. That's not even. Kickers. Next, you want to bring up punters, which I totally pulled up the list of punters, but we're not doing that. I just want to say thanks, everybody. This is the end of the show. This is it. We hit the hour and 6-minute mark, okay? We hit a good show. This is it. We talk about defense. Next time, our next show, we'll be talking. What do we want to talk about, Doug? What do we feel like? Are we talking teams? Or we might break down maybe a division or two?
Maybe we'll get into some news about draft and stuff and see what's coming up next.
Draft hype. I know nothing about college football, so guess what? We're going to be talking some absolute bull crap on my end.
It's going to be good.
Doug's going to be like, yeah, this guy coming out of here. And I'm like, absolutely. Pull up the stat sheet. What do we got?
Good.
What's the report say? Yeah, I don't usually believe half the reports anyway, so I'll look at combine stats and nod my head, say that's probably not a good guy. It's probably another Kevin White or another, what's the speedster? Ridley.
It's not a good quarterback drafting year, so we'll see.
So it's said.
In the past, we said that in the past, right? And then we had some good quarterbacks come out of there, so we'll see.
Lions, if you draft a QB at number 2, we are done. Done. I'm breaking up with you.
Do it.
I am breaking up. If
Browns
you trade your
Browns fan, baby, come on.
Yeah, no.
You're not that far away.
No.
You're not that far away.
I would love to be where your team is. Your team's like, well, at least broke even. I'd be happy with that.
Well, we didn't break even, but
Yeah, close enough. Actually, my team didn't. Anyway, good night. We love you all. Have a great, from me to you. Stay safe. Like, subscribe, comment down below, share with your friends. Let everybody know where you can find us. Have a good night. See you next time.